Less than 2 weeks away, we have Eagles training camp. It is finally here. But a couple things I definitely, want to go over. And one is definitely Nolan Smith because he has been working his tail off this offseason. We are only given so much information on, through social media, what we see from these players, what they do between OTAs and training camp in that little bit of a time span where football news is pretty dead right now. And, and secondly, I want to go after Dallas Goddard had a podcast, was on a podcast, said some things about the QB sneak rule, the tush push, as we call it. That's nicknamed that. And how much are the Eagles going to use that this year? Does it matter? Does it not matter? Are they going to diminish Jalen Hurts from using that as much? We're going to go over all that stuff. So let's get straight into all of the Eagles news. So first on the list, I hope everyone's having a good work week. I hope, everybody is trying to stay as active as possible, because I feel like every day that passes by, I feel like it gets slower and slower as we get closer to Eagles training camp. Now, Nolan Smith talk about the off seasons. Nolan Smith has not taken any time off, and I'm really excited to see how they use Nolan Smith this year. I really am. And Sean Desai's defense, do they use him more of an edge rusher? Is he more in pass coverage, or are they going to keep him at a nice balance? Because really at the end of the day, like, if it was really up to me right now, and I feel like, as selfish as I am, I would keep him as a pure edge rusher, but I know that he could do so much more. I know a lot of people, even after we drafted him, I know a lot of people were talking about Nolan Smith. He's too small. He's just, I think when it comes down to it, it's going to come to his technique. And I don't think he's as small as everyone thinks. I think he's very, very lengthy. I think he's just good with technique, and I think that beats out a lot of different things. And I think when it comes to his work ethic and all that great stuff, I think it's going to really help, going into the season. If it was really up to me at the end of the day, I would sign Yannick Ngakoue. This way, your third line for your defensive ends would really be complete. You have Derek Barnett, Yannick Ngakoue on the edges, so really your three lines are going to look really good instead of just your two lines. Your 2.5 lines will look pretty good going into the regular season. But what Sean Desai has done with outside linebackers, line them up on the line, shoot the gap. I mean, I think Nolan Smith is going to have like a 6 to 9 sack season. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. I really do. We need to see what we have in him. We kind of know what we have in him, but it really just depends on usage. And when Sean Desai, was the defensive coordinator for the Bears in 21, obviously top 10 against the pass, top 5 in sacks, bottom 10 against the run. His blitz rate is 22.6%, which is pretty good. So he definitely takes chances, but can't imagine what he's going to do with some of these guys. I think it just comes down to putting these right guys in the right positions to win football games. And, because we just had a defensive coordinator that just didn't know how to use players, and, that players had to go up to the coach and tell him how to use them in this defense. So I think you're going to have a nice balance with Nolan Smith. You can't really waste his athleticism, because even though the 40 time was probably one of the biggest things, like in 20 years, a defensive end hasn't ran a 40 like that, and in that long, and we kind of made history a little bit. But what he could do as an outside linebacker is a whole nother thing too, because he can cover a big area. I mean, he's got quickness. He has really good sense of change of direction, real fast. You can't wait. He's not just like a vertical. He's not just like, he just doesn't run a vertical, fast. He doesn't run in a straight line fast, and that's it. Like, the guy could move around like very well. So are the Eagles not going after a linebacker because Nolan Smith is in those plans at outside linebacker? Because really, at the end of the day, when I look at outside of Nakobe Dean, I don't really see much. Nicholas Morrow, I think, is a nice balance, but I don't think his pass coverage is that great. He had 112, 116 tackles last year, but you only take that into precaution so much. Are you going to trade for Patrick Queen? Are you going to trade for Isaiah Simmons? Are you going to go after free agents like Quan Alexander, Miles Jack, Deion Jones, Zach Cunningham, Rashaan Evans, Kyle Van Noy, guys like that, if you want to go after guys that are still available right now? So there are bodies that are available. Eagles have 4 open roster spots right now. Okay, so I feel like Nolan Smith is in the plans of being an outside linebacker this year as well, because I feel like he just has more value than just lining him up on the edge, even though I feel like, yes, our defensive line is very deep going into this year. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, with Javon Hargrave leaving your defensive line, you got to kind of compensate for that. But how much pressure do you put on first-round picks? In my opinion, with first-round picks coming into the league, I don't put too much on it. I got to see some type of productivity, but usually I give, guys, really going into their second years. Like Jordan Davis needs a big year this year. So usually the second years are the most important years for me. You know what I mean? But Nolan Smith has not took any time off whatsoever. I mean, he's literally, he hasn't stopped. I mean, he's been working out with Trayvon Walker, Quay Walker, and, Miles Murphy this offseason. And I'm excited to see what Sean Desai does here. I mean, I think night and day rosters, what Sean Desai has coached, even in 21, likes to do a lot with his outside linebackers. He likes to blitz them. He likes to be very aggressive with them. And Nolan Smith has the speed. He has a physical capability to get to the quarterback very easily. And in pass coverage, he's quick for his size. He's very quick. Could change direction real fast. There's a lot to really dive in with this. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case. Who knows? The Eagles might keep him as purely an edge rusher, but I feel like because the Eagles didn't pick up a linebacker, there's a little bit more to it than just, they're not doing much at linebacker. I think there's somewhat of a plan here to cross-train into, not really cross-train, but because he's played both positions before, but I think if you can move him to outside, if you move Nolan Smith to outside linebacker and you can compensate for, not having him on certain plays, but he's still going to be like, they could just put him on outside linebacker just to shoot the gap, maybe not even be in pass coverage. You know what I mean? You can add another guy on the line if you want and kind of make quarterbacks real nervous with not only your defensive line already on the field, but having Nolan Smith kind of just crowd around the line to scrimmage and just start hunting. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is a guy that was compared to Hassan Reddick that's on the same team as him right now. And Nolan Smith has looked up to Von Miller, went to Von Miller's camp and has been working with these other guys as well this offseason. So, takes his game to a whole new level. And I think he will this year. I think a lot of people, didn't like the pick. I think there was a lot of people that were like, about it. I wasn't a fan of picking him up at 10. I wasn't a fan of picking him up at 10. I just wasn't. I said early 20s was where I was going to go if Nolan Smith was still available. So I'm glad the Eagles picked him up. I feel like he's I think he's very undervalued by a lot of fans. I feel like, a lot of some fans have given up on him and feel like, he's not going to do much. He'll just be a rotational guy the rest of his career, because I don't think he's going to start on the line this year. Like, I think it's going to be, obviously your starting line. Hopefully Jalen Carter is going to be next to Jordan Davis this year. That's what I'm kind of figuring out. And, I feel like even with that, I think, it's going to be Graham and Reddick, and then you'll have Sweat and Nolan Smith, and then Derek Barnett, and, hopefully they sign somebody else. I really want to get Yannick Ngakoue on the rotation if they can get him, if he's not too expensive. The Eagles have over $13 million in cap space, so if you want to compensate for, you're losing a guy on that defensive line with Nolan Smith, but you could bring in a guy as well. But at the same time, even if they take Nolan Smith and put him as an outside linebacker on top of really good starters on your defensive line, they can use him just to they could put him on the line to scrimmage and just let him attack, which is a great thing. And I think, just fantastic. Who are you going to double team? Who are you going to double, who are you going to double team on this defensive line? I don't know. It's going to be really hard, for offenses are going to have to pick their poison with some of these guys. And Nolan Smith, I have high accolades for. I feel very good about him going into this year in his first year, and I think he's going to make a lot of noise. I think, like I said, I think he'll have 6 to 9 sacks this year. So that's definitely something to say about that. So let me know what you guys think about, obviously, Nolan Smith going into his first year, and how good do you feel about him? So I think that's really important. Secondly, we had some news from Dallas Goddard. Dallas Goddard was on a podcast and talked about the tush-push rule, which is obviously the QB sneak that the Eagles have been very good at even last year. It's funny because he even said, like, there was players, like, throughout the year, defenses would, like, say, run a real play, like, kind of make a joke about it, like, run a real play. Don't run this QB sneak stuff, But the Eagles have been so good at it, even, like, at the owners meeting, there were owners that wanted. I think almost every team in the NFL has tried to get the NFL to take this away from the Eagles, because no teams are pissed off at the Eagles for running this, but because they can't run this themselves. No other team is successful. I mean, literally to the point where they ran the ball 29. What they did 29 of 32 QB sneaks, which I thought it was a lot. I thought there was a lot more than that. Okay, 90.5%. They've converted 90.5% of QB sneaks. That's crazy. I mean, literally, not to sound weird when I say it like this, but yeah, I can understand why teams are pissed off, because Jalen Hurts, he could squat 500-600 pounds, okay, because the guy has, the offensive line with Kelsey and everybody up front that's in front of him, okay. Not even just that, but you have two guys on each. You have one guy on each ass cheek of Jalen Hurts, literally carrying him into the end zone or carrying him past the first down marker. I mean, it is unfair, but it just if it's so unfair, why are other teams not doing it? You know what I mean? So I feel like that's that whole thing is coming to so to the question I have for this is, are the Eagles going to keep doing this? Okay, because they paid Jalen Hurts, are they going to have him still do these types of things? And for me, they are 100% going to do this a million times this year. Probably more than 29 times. I don't care if you had Rashad Penny at 100% health or DeAndre Swift at 100% health. I don't even care about them. So the Eagles, okay, so we have to watch out this year for New Orleans Saints, because we own their second round pick for next year. And remember that trade that we had with them? We own the second round pick. And obviously you have Derek Carr there. Could this be a team that is going to be good this year? I don't know. It really depends on the quarterback. And, I know they were in a cap situation, and, they had to restructure a lot of contracts, and Michael Thomas is, finally healthy. I mean, we'll see how well that goes going down the line of everything. But I think Olave's a great player, so we'll see what happens with the Saints. But this is definitely a team to watch out for, because that second round pick, this is gonna be the first time in a draft where we don't have 2 first rounders. So you know what I mean? It's nice to have it. That's why I was kind of a little surprised they picked somebody with that second first rounder. I was a little surprised. I was a little shocked they didn't trade back and get another pick for 24. Okay, that's where I was kind of a little surprised. But yeah, I feel really good about it. I feel like it'd be nice to have a high second rounder. I mean, the Eagles are slated to have 11 to 12 draft selections. So just wanted to let you guys know this is a team to definitely watch for, because of that second round pick. The more they lose, obviously, the bigger that the higher that pick is going to be. So because early second rounders. I mean, I don't think when's the last time we really had a high second rounder? I don't even know. I don't think we haven't had a high second rounder in a long time. So it should be really interesting. So definitely a team to watch going forward. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about, obviously, Nolan Smith. I don't know why. I'm thinking about linebacker. I'm thinking about everything right now. I want training camp to get here as fast as possible. So let me know what you guys think about Nolan Smith going into the season. What do you think he's going to do? How do you think he's going to be used? Do you think the Eagles are going to be using that tush-push rule a lot, or the tush-push play a lot this year, even more than 28, 29 times, whatever it was? And yeah, the Saints' second round pick is in high hopes of being, pretty high going into next year. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping. So, other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. You guys enjoy the rest of your work week, the rest of your day. And if you guys haven't, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video as well for more content every single day for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I cannot sit still. I need training camp to get here. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. SHAKESQUAD up. Follow us. Peace out, guys. Peace.